Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Crimson News Network. Since it's been a little while, there is quite a lot of stuff to talk about. But before that, welcome to the greatest source of biased news, disinformation, and completely trash opinion. We are not a reliable source whatsoever. We're completely biased. We're going to lie to you right to your face. And we have, literally zero journalistic standards. Like, why the fuck do you watch this for any amount of news whatsoever? Like, there's got to be something wrong with you. There's got to be something wrong with you. Anyway, tonight since we, took off last week to do Fictionology like we always do at the end of every month, there is quite a bit to cover. So, obviously a bunch of manga, anime, announcements, trailers, all that kind of stuff. And then we have one in particular that caused a bit of a hubbub on the internet, for whatever reason. There's also some One Punch Man shit going on. Some gaslighting, some interesting inside looks at what's going on with JC staff. There is Amazon's AI dub scandal in which they dubbed No Game, No Life, Banana Fish, and Vinland Saga, to my knowledge. Plus more, apparently. And how that's going over. And then, of course, there is the Chainsaw Man Reze controversy that we're going to have to talk about, because apparently a lot of people found a Reze lookalike in a BDSM porno. So that's apparently a thing. And that has upset some people. And then, of course, we will finish off with the, the ultimate waifu tier list thing. And tonight we have on the list Cowboy Bebop and Evangelion. So I picked a couple of small ones to just quickly do it, but like 4 from each of them was about all I could, justify putting on here. So we have 4 characters from each of those, so 8 in total to add to the ultimate waifu tier list tonight. So with that being said, let us get, let's say hello to the chat first. So we have RG Energy with the Crimson Communist News Network. No, that would be the CCNN. It's the CNN. It's just the Crimson News Network, okay? Look, I know we are pro-disinformation and pro-biased media over here, but we do not have communist in the name. I cannot claim that one, okay? Marcel, hello there. Hope you're doing well. Rolando A. Ramirez over here with the harumph. AI is going to kill entertainment, bruh. Well, it's interesting because Kadokawa got involved in this situation, and we'll go over that a little bit more later in the night. But it's going to be interesting to see how the future goes. Didn't care about Chainsaw Man. Now you have my interest. And can you do a ways to delete Shinji tier list? I don't know. Maybe we'll do some stuff like that in the future. But right now, broadcasting torture is probably not going to fly. So, let's get into the important stuff, and that would be tonight's manga and anime adaptation announcement. So, to start off, we have a manga here, and this is a romance by the creator of Kubo-san Won't Let Me Be Invisible, and this is We're Just Childhood Friends. This is the volume 1 cover, as you can see here. Art style is very reminiscent of Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible, which is a pretty decent manga to those of you looking for something more on the romance slice of life side to look into. It's good. So, rom-com about 2 childhood friends who have been together since they were little. Now they're high school classmates But since they've reached puberty, they don't feel as close as they used to until one day she decides to change things. So it looks like this girl is, the determined one, and this guy over here is just that's pretty typical from this creator. That's about what I would expect. So honestly, we'll probably check it out. I did enjoy the manga, and we'll probably read this, but it's, to be entirely honest, I only expect it to be like a B tier sort of thing. The next one on the list is actually another artist that the people around here are probably familiar with because we just did a fictionology on some of their works. So here we have TV anime announced for Sword Art Online creator Reiki Kawahara's latest virtual death game fantasy, Demon's Crest. More details to be revealed. Fantasy action about a group of teenagers who are testing a new VR game, but when they log out of it, the game suddenly fuses with reality. That's what I like, aggressive women. See, I just like when they're, assertive and don't beat around the bush. Like, come on, just don't do stupid shit. So, Reiki Kawahara really likes his death game stuff, doesn't he? And I respect it. He did pretty good with what I've seen of Evangelion. Evangelion? Where the fuck did I pull that one out of? Sword Art Online. God, I hope I haven't been saying Evangelion. Fuck you, Roman. But you got me thinking of Evangelion. And look, I ain't even been drinking yet. Like, I haven't taken anything out of this bottle today. Anyway. So this will be a thing. We'll see if he can continue to land critical hits with good storytelling. Anyway, the next one on the list is kind of interesting. So first, look at the new Godzilla anime series. This series will follow a boy who holds the power of Godzilla within himself. So effectively, what I'm getting from this is that we are looking at Kaiju number 8, but with a Godzilla flavoring. Which is interesting because, like, I don't think Kaiju number 8 is like particularly the best thing to be copying, and it's kind of weird that you would go this route with Godzilla of all things. Like, you could probably do like a Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla thing really well in anime format. Like, Godzilla would be like the perfect format to do some like Mecha versus Kaiju bullshit. So I'm intrigued, but a little bit worried about their decision as far as like the direction that they're going with this. Now, I will say the design at least looks pretty cool on this artwork, on this visual here. But that's about the only thing in this that has me like, okay, maybe this will be something worth checking out. Does Godzilla get the girl in the end? Holy shit, it's Godzilla. Hello, Muffler Tape. Why make Godzilla basically a young boy? That's a good question. I don't know, and maybe it has to do with Japan liking the that archetype for protagonists because it's relatable to a lot of people and draws people in. That would probably be what I would go with if I had to answer that question, but I don't know. It's a little weird. But that brings us into some of the anime we will be talking about tonight. Gojira! So let's start here. So this is Hikuidori, Oeda Fire Slayer, an anime that has been announced for January of 2026. So this is going to be a winter anime. So it's a historical mystery set in Edo period about a financially struggling former samurai tasked with rebuilding a chaotic firefighting squad amidst a series of arson cases. So let's check this out. Let's see what they've got to offer. That looks like CGI right out the gate. Okay. Now that doesn't. That looks like an actual, like, fucking drawn setting and everything. But so far, the character and everything has looked all 3D. Wait, no, hold on. The background here. Yeah, okay. So the whole set here is 2D. Like, they actually drew all this stuff, but they 3D'd the chick, the little girl. Oh, this is going to annoy me so much. So they're drawing everything in the background in this style, but literally everything that moves is 3D models in CGI. Okay, this might just be a skip for me. Like, it looked like it could be interesting, but the style's probably going to annoy me the most. Did I say that right? This looked like it could be interesting to me. I might have said it looked like it could be a skip. Either way, what I meant is that it had an interesting premise to it, at least from what I had read. So I figured I'd at least give it a little bit of a try. But no, this looks like pretty heavy CGI work. And all of the fucking dead eyes of these characters. Like, that looks okay, but still kind of dead inside. Like animatronic kind of stuff. Oh boy. Okay, that actually, you know, it's got some oomph to it, that music. Like, the voice acting and everything seems fine. It's just I'm gonna have a problem with all the fucking CGI. I'm sorry, but it's starting to kind of like visually remind me of X-Arm in a lot of ways. And that brings, so Synergy SP. I'm kind of curious to see what Synergy SP has done. So I'm going to look this up really quick before we continue this trailer. Synergy SP. Okay, so they have worked on a couple of Cuckoos. I don't know what that one is. Initial D, 5th Stage. Girlfriend Season 2. Bye Bye Dragon Life. Okay, they did that one. Lots of old school stuff. Like, they got some old stuff here. So let's see. A lot of the early stuff is all like 5s to like mid 6s. Then you get to a couple of 7s. Like, Initial D is a 7.5. Initial D Stage 3 is a 7.5. 3. Then you have Major World Series, which is an 8.28, and Major Message, which is an 8.13. And then everything goes back to, okay, so Major S6. So basically, their big hits. Oh, they also did Medaka Kuroiwa. Okay. So their big hits are Initial D and Major. They also have cross games, so like sports and racing. They don't have a bad record. Like, they're okay. They're not like a huge name or anything, but they're okay.
狐火という今江戸中を震撼させている極悪火付け人の仕業よ。お頭、火事です。
I'm probably gonna laugh at a lot of this animation. Like this whole scene looks kind of funny to me.
です。危ない。惚れた女を守るのにわけはいらねえよな。
I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a couple of episodes. I feel like just dumping it right out the gate, not even giving it a chance to, at least be something worth my time, is a little harsh. But I think I've said this before. I'm gonna continue to be harsher on stuff on animated, moving forward. So you'll have to have a pretty good story to really keep me invested. If this is the part that's gonna, be the most visible.
私は父と同じ道を歩むつもりはありません。火消し遊びなど、所詮はよそごと。
Hold on.
よそごと。この時。
Okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought, but insofar as this goes, it's more so the fact that you have everything in the background being drawn, while like in a specific like rough style, while all of the characters are animated with a completely different method.
私は初めて気づいた。江戸には火が切れる侍もいること。食ってやる。
I don't know. We'll see about that one. I wish they made it in a normal style anime movie. But that's not the last thing that we'll be talking about tonight. So, I guess there's another anime film coming out on Netflix in January. So, this came across my feed, so I threw it in here. Apparently, anime is doing a Netflix, Netflix is doing an anime film, called Cosmic Princess Kaguya. And I'm a little bit disturbed by this one, but we'll go through it. Okay. So at the very least, I don't hate the art style and everything. It's just I'm kind of a little weird out the gate because we have this and then immediately into this. So, like, what's the time frame here, please? And to those of you who aren't familiar, the whole like tale of Kaguya the Moon Princess thing, it's a pretty big piece of fiction in Japanese culture. Like, it gets referenced a lot. So is this like just the Yuri version of the classic tale of, Kaguya the Moon Princess or something like that? The overburdened honor student. Again, I like the art style and a lot of the animation on this. It's just... It looks more like something that I would get a kick out of just for, the comedy animation and all that kind of stuff. Because those shots right there are pretty well animated. Like... I'll get my happy ending and you're coming with me. Okay, so now we're getting into the virtual world. All right. This is becoming a bigger and bigger thing, is this whole like escape to the virtual world stuff with Japanese media. again, I kind of appreciate a lot of the visuals here. Like, now there are some where you can see some like interesting things going on. So, like, particularly if you see my mouse cursor up here, like this whole CGI thing is clipping through whatever that is. I would assume though that that's by intention and that there's just like it's an immaterial sort of thing. But the fact that a lot of this stuff around here is, you know, like actually animated, some of these things look like CGI, but like it looks good all around. By Rio. But there are groomers in the virtual world. Ex Otogi Banashi by Rio. Why do I feel like I've seen Rio somewhere before? Interesting. Hold on. Interesting bit of animation here. So not bad. At least visually, it has my interest so far. But I'm kind of a little like thrown for a loop by some of the stuff that's going on with it, like plot wise and all that. Also, hello to the questioners. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. That said, we still have 2 more trailers to get through, and now, fair warning, this next one is by JC Staff. You know, the current fuckers doing One Punch Man. So, there may be some interesting things to say about this. So here we have new shoujo TV anime Tama B-side new trailer. So it airs January 3rd, 2026 by JC Staff. Look at that. Rom-com by Takane and Hana creator Yui Shiwasu about a girl who finds out that her crush, a popular male idol, has in fact a gloomy, insecure personality offstage. Now, this is again by JC Staff. And I was watching this trailer a little bit earlier, and I've got to say, I feel like they might have treated this better than One Punch Man. Some of the profiles here on the characters do kind of remind me of Ranma and all of that. And they're a little bit deeper in here. There is some more of that kind of reminds me of like Ranma's art style. But we'll just continue to play it.
推しがファンの女とプライベートで会ってるとかパパラッチされたら抹殺しよう。
So far, the animation has already been better than fucking One Punch Man. Holy shit. A shoujo anime has better animation than One Punch Man. And it's not even that like even when they're doing like these sorts of things, which are usually used for animation cutting or like budget or effort cutting effects, like they'll do this stuff so that they don't have to make like backgrounds or anything or move a ton of stuff. They're still doing a good job with this. Like, why are they putting so much effort into this?
So, Tamon君ちのハウスキーパーとして日々網膜に焼き付いている顔面を見間違うはず。
And to be fair, this looks like it'll be an entertaining shoujo anime. So I kind of do look forward to this right out the gate. Yeah, but like what is JC Staff doing?
などなく、
ファン騙して傷つけて俺ゴミでは。
たとえ本人でもアンチには屈しません。
I wonder if this will hold up beyond episode 1, though. It's really going to be interesting to see how they actually go about doing this. This is just a trailer so far. I can't really say that the whole anime is going to be like this. It could be one of those things where it just falls off, but it would really be a crying shame if they put everything they had into this rather than One Punch Man, which would have deserved the animation effort much more.
しくないですか。本来なら応援される価値もないんで、あんな偽物。
は偽
See, this one does not at all butcher any of like its attempts at comedy or anything with meh animation. Like, this is a good way to put it. Yeah, it has so much more personality than One Punch Man.
生まれてきて
Oops.
パパラッチされたら抹殺しよ
I accidentally hit something else.
生まれてきてくれて
There we go. Okay, that's where we were.
本当に嬉しいですジメハラさんも
お前のハートにロック。
Significantly better. This is... So JC staff can do stuff. They just chose to fucking raw dog most of the animation in One Punch Man. And there's even there's even some CGI stuff here. And like for this, to be entirely honest, like it looks like it's not as bad as the other one. Like they actually do a pretty good job with the CGI. Again, a lot of this does kind of remind me of like Ranma art style for some reason. That's the vibe I get from it.
みんなのエンジェル石橋夏樹です。最後はカイです。
ファンの理想になりきるどれだけ大変なことだろう
ファンのみんなは褒めてくれます。
JC staff, I have to ask, where were your priorities in what you were making?
嬉しいなって木下さんが叱ってくれたおかげです。
なんて何やって
Again, where are your fucking priorities, JC staff?
るの私押すべきはジメハラさんじゃないタモンくんタモンくんタモンくんタモンくんかっこいいタモンくん今どっち
Like that looks so much more watchable than One Punch Man, to be entirely honest. And how we ended up at that point, I'm baffled to where I can sit here and like legitimately say like, yeah, this random ass shoujo anime has better animation than One Punch Man, and it's done by the same studio. But again, we'll get into some of that when we get into some of the One Punch Man stuff after the next segment. So this is going to be our transition into the next part of it, and this is the last trailer of the night. I'm talking about the animation. The animation for season 1 and season 2 would have been better than that. The animation for season 3 is, outside of a couple of shots, not that great. I will say they did do a really good job with their latest episode. I'm not going to knock the animators for that. But overall, their show has not, their work has not been showing. So, let's start with, we're more controversial than ever, so let's start with one of the controversies. So, it starts here. Manga artist rom-com, now that we draw TV anime announcement trailer. The animation studio is Roll 2, and it's a rom-com about two rookie manga artists in high school with zero love experience who enter a fake romantic relationship to improve their works.
Mangaka no yume e no dai ippo.
All right, looks like stereotypical pro tag-kun.
と言われた原稿が何の間違いかクラス1のギャルに見られてしまう。
And we basically have our Ana Yamada stand-in. Like, holy shit, she's fucking huge in more ways than one, apparently.
マジ切ねえかよ
I like the art style so far, and the animation is pretty good.
上原くんはさ
Oh, they got jiggle physics. Did you see it?
くんはさ好きな漫画は何上原くんはさ好きな漫画は
Sorry,
何
I had to.
愛があるよねキャラクターにさ漫画家なそうね一緒に
I don't really know what to say. Okay. What's wrong with her hand? I don't think there's anything wrong with her hand. She has handlebars.
一度書いてみようかな。
夢青春ど真ん中ラブコメディかくなる上はテレビアニメ化決定です
So this looks like something I'm genuinely going to enjoy. It's the kind of rom-com slop that I consume, you know?
上がるんですけどみんな
I believe this is all just them going over credits and stuff here. But like I said, this turned out to be fairly controversial for whatever reason. Like I genuinely don't understand how this turned into a controversy, and this is where we will start with the whole thing. So, I'll bring this back up. I'm going to pause this so I don't get in trouble with anyone. But this person, shonen rom-com's obsession with pairing an average loser with a tall, pretty girl instead of making both attractive needs to be studied. So people had a problem with the fact that, main character looked a little average and he wasn't, the most incredible looking person. And then it followed up with, why are men afraid of seeing themselves as attractive or desirable? He is nice, great, and he has the charisma of a wet sponge instead of putting some effort into himself. Like, I don't get it. And this goes into like the difference between the way men and women go into a lot of like forms of entertainment. There was a study, I've brought it up a couple of times on these streams, where Lego went in to see what the difference between the way boys and girls play. Girls, it basically comes down to girls like to self-insert. They like to make the characters themselves, where boys like to make themselves the characters. Effectively, a girl playing with, or a Batman toy played with by a girl becomes the girl herself. But a Batman toy in the hands of a boy, when a boy picks up a Batman toy and starts playing with it, he becomes Batman. And yes, the audience for this is primarily male. So here we go. Simple. Men are not obsessed with seeing themselves in everything they consume. They would rather pay attention to interesting characters. The generic guy only exists to push the plot forward. Implying that men see themselves as losers is kind of a self-report. The truth is most men simply don't care whether they see themselves represented or not in media meant for them. Men know how to take a story for what it is. And yeah, there's also this interesting because the complaint is always shonen like this, but ignoring plenty of shoujo out there with average girl MCs and a band of highly attractive men. So if the men are self-inserting, are the women Or is it just because women do self-insert they think men do? No need to apologize for your inability to form an argument. How is this going? Media aimed at nerdy boys has characters intentionally made relatable to the target audience. I think that's clear. And to say that the audience doesn't have self-confidence issues is crazy. Of course, they can also consume media without self-insertion, but it doesn't matter. Boys don't operate this way. All boys identify as Goku. They don't need him to be Mexican or black for that link to be established. The thing about this comment here is there's literally studies to prove that this is a gendered thing. But it continues. It continues. So here, yet again, we have observing a very interesting phenomenon where romance anime targeted at women will have both FMC and MMC be unrealistically gorgeous, while romance targeted anime targeted at men usually only has the girl being unrealistically gorgeous, while the guy is, well, average at best. Gee, I wonder what this could be all about. So this person responds with, I hate protagonists who look like this. No offense. I just don't like y'all. And then never watched any of these shows, except ReZero, which was ass. You can go fuck yourself. I just dislike them. It's insane to me to go through all of this. Like, just to say, like, it comes down to looks, and it proves that the people commenting on this stuff are incredibly shallow. Because there is something to be said about the whole character arc. You want to talk about, what's going on here? There's something to be said about the character arc of the characters who, are average, nerdy, like wallflower kind of stuff. Them going from that to someone who's much more involved with other people, who is, going out of their way to be more active or improving on people, is a good thing. It's a good character arc. So yeah, OP has never even watched the shows and judges based on nothing anyway. Wakana Gojo from My Dress Up Darling is actually peak husband material. Hardworking, supportive without being controlling, gentle and patient, cooks delicious meals, can make you any cosplay you want, respects boundaries, loyal to a fault, emotionally aware, humble but reliable, and brings out the best in Mari. And I can say a lot of good things about a lot of these protagonists. I don't particularly care about Hajiman. But like Okarun, the whole thing about Okarun is he develops over the course of the whole series, going from like the nerdy picked on kid to one of the most popular dudes at his school. Because guess what? You know that whole thing where he starts training and doing like push-ups and crunches and everything every day? He continues doing that for a long time. Like Okarun is not he's not weak. Like dude's got some muscle on him. And again, Subaru's looks is literally like one of the whole things about him. He's supposed to look like a punk. And his shifty looking eyes are one of the things that he gets judged by. A lot of people think he's more violent than he actually is. And the whole point with that is you're dealing with someone with some major identity issues. Like the whole point of ReZero is basically Subaru sorting himself out or being forced to. Run up against his own hero complex, or the fact that he fucking hates himself. Like you want to sit down and like hate on these protagonists just because of the way they look? There's nothing wrong with the way they look. Okarun looks fine. Same with Subaru. Gojo's probably one of the most plain ones here. But all of like there's more to a character than the way they look. And that's the big thing that like this conversation effectively misses, is that when it comes to characters, like the original person said, it's more so about, actually paying attention to the story, what the character is supposed to do with their position, whether they are rewarded for doing nothing or whether they are, actually being active in improving themselves. And again, I will say the difference between, men and women's fiction, or the way they can like get into entertainment comes down to the fact that men, again, tend to see themselves as the hero. Like they want to be the one doing all of the crazy stuff. So they won't put themselves into that role. They will make themselves the character in that situation. A boy playing with a Batman toy is Batman. This was proven by Lego. This is a study you can look up. Meanwhile, women tend to, make the thing about themselves. A girl playing with a Batman toy turns the Batman toy into a version of herself. It does all the things that she would do in a day. So, I wonder why series tend to focus on, bland, shut-off characters making friends and, scoring a girlfriend. I didn't mean to bring this up. Whoops. And it's not like there haven't been an abundance of, I'm just the average girl, but like the popular guy really likes me kind of stuff going on. Hell, Star Brighter Than the Sun happened. But people just want to complain about shit because they don't understand what they're talking about. It happens in all sorts of directions. A lot of different things happen. And, guess what? The difference is guys don't take it personally. And guys tend to have harsher views of themselves than everyone else. Or than women do, I should say. But that being said, it is time to get into the One Punch Man stuff. So we're going to start with a post from Nicholas Light. And this is kind of where things start to kick off. So, I'm so fucking sick of these people gaslighting and guilt-tripping fans. An animator from One Punch Man Season 3. So, here is the post from the animator that's going to start us off with the segment for the night. Regarding One Punch Man, the criticisms, or rather the sheer volume of the criticism from people watching illegally overseas, are overwhelming. The production team probably feels a lot of pain because of it. Everyone shares the same feelings. Nobody set out to make a bad product, yet we get criticized for the smallest details. Where is our motivation supposed to go? I'll be blunt. In the next few weeks, something we poured our hearts and souls into will be aired. If people call it crap or a paper play, then so be it. But we pushed ourselves to the very limit. Please think about the creators behind the screen. We aren't joining this as volunteers. This is everyone's jobs. The more you bully us, the more the staff will disappear. Guaranteed. So, a lot of people took to this to try and defend the animators. They got bodied in the feels by this appeal to emotion. Like, oh, woe is us. We're the victims here. And now, to some extent, I do think that people were being a little bit harsh. But criticizing the work is not out of the scope, or is not out of purview. Like, people are genuinely allowed to criticize this work. I don't think that should be coming into question. Again, the issue I have with this is he goes into something we poured our hearts and souls into. I don't get that out of a lot of this. There are maybe 2 scenes that I have seen in this whole season that look like they actually had any amount of passion put behind them. And that was the Garo versus Bug God and Ripper King fight, and then the Flashy Flash fight that aired in the latest episode. The issue is no, I don't think you joined as volunteers. That's the problem. You get paid to do this. And you know what? You did a crap job. And I've said this multiple times in going over this. But if I did a shit trim job at work and expected and use this line of logic, well, I'm not doing it as a volunteer. This is my job. People would be rightly more pissed at me because they are paying me. So I guess the next thing we got to do is go here. So we'll start with this. So this meme got posted. The the IMDb ratings, 9.9 out of 10 and the 1.5 out of 10. Funny meme. Like I genuinely think this is a fucking funny meme. But this person here replied, kind of proof that most OPM fans aren't in for the story, but for the animation. A lot of times, yeah, because this is a very action heavy series. And to make this sort of criticism is, again, missing the fucking point. It's an action heavy series. And even the manga does a better job of making it visually appealing than the anime. If that's the case, why animate it? Why even bother? The fact is that you made a worse rendition of the manga. But it gets better. This person responded to their own post with this video. And this one's interesting. So hopefully you guys will be able to hear this.
This isn't even about One Punch Man fans only caring about animation. This is just them wanting the show to be watchable. I'm sorry, but there are particular things about this season that are being brought up that are so ridiculous you would never believe would ever be allowed in a studio. Actual scenes that go on for nearly 30 seconds with little to no movement whatsoever. If I placed it side
Again, when I made my video, I highlighted the fact that it robs all the life and personality from the series with the way it's animated. That's another big crime of this one. Like, the manga does show a lot of that.
side by side with another regular anime and played both at the same time, you would think that One Punch Man was actually frozen. Some of the moments are so horrendously bad that you would be left to believe that you were getting pranked. Comparing this season of One Punch Man with the current season of My Hero Academia would be the same as comparing a coughing baby to a hydrogen bomb. It's that stark of a difference. I don't think y'all understand. Story is so important. Story is crucial, but so is the medium that you are experiencing that story.
Again, I agree with the point. Like, if you're going to animate something, actually animate it. The way you animate it adds a level of personality, a level of life to the project that it should have versus the manga. You have to do things differently. You can't just copy panels, slap them on, and move a mouth up and down a little bit. That doesn't count as animation.
The artwork is trash, or the cinematography is shit, or the actors that are on your screen are wearing outfits that are extremely off-putting, then that hurts your viewing experience and therefore hurts the story. I don't agree with harassment or bullying whatsoever, but if you keep your mouth shut and consume slop, all you're ever going to get is slop. And today it'll be One Punch Man, the next day it'll be something else you really enjoy watching. And as for One Punch Man fans, I am sorry for your loss. This is beyond salvageable. Just go read the manga.
Yeah, it's literally at that kind of a point where, like, you're better off just reading the manga for this section of One Punch Man. Like, it's not really been all of that good. The manga had much more flair to it. It had a whole lot more visual appeal. It was much more fun to experience. And if that's going to be the thing, I'm not tuning in for it. But here we go. Here gets to the big point of all of this. So you saw that JC Staff has worked on yeah, exactly. So you saw that JC Staff worked on something pretty recently with the Tamon B-side. Here's a little inside of their studio. So Packer Girl went and, compiled a lot of stuff here. There's some interesting information that I did want to go over. So Japanese Twitter is not a fan of One Punch Man Season 3. So I thought that for the third season, it's unfair to compare it just to the first season, or to the first season, just because it was a masterpiece of divine animation. But it seems like it's not at that level, not on that level at all. I thought the artwork was bad, but the staging before that was even worse. I really think the staging ability in current anime is on the lowest level in Japanese anime history and is terrible. Showa era animes had much more Showa era anime was much more meticulous. Maybe it's the consequence of neglecting to cultivate staging skills. The direction is at the lowest level, and the art is terrible too. It's doomed. Everyone unanimously agrees that season 1 had that miraculous god tier animation, but I feel like season 3 has gotten worse compared to season 2. I used to be on the side that thinks it's kind of pitiful to compare them, but damn, this is on a whole other level of bad. It's like Flash animation where they just slightly move the panels from the manga. Anime from 30 years ago is on a higher level. Seriously. If this flying saucer disc gets released, who's going to buy it? The manga version's already moving. Yeah, so these opinions could be applied to the majority of JC Staff manga to anime adaptations. This has to be a desperate measure, even for staging. It looks like the result of cutting the elaborate staging because the budget and manpower weren't enough. I haven't watched season 3 yet, but the direction feels like a low-budget light novel original anime. It's an anime that's barely holding up mostly on the voice actors' efforts because there's always too little movement. I'm thinking of buying the manga. The manga probably has more action. I can't help but feel like what on earth happened at this point. Maybe they did, and they didn't need to force an anime adaptation after all. Then you go to JC Staff themselves. We did a video on this situation. So I guess this is kind of the one where we kind of start to. So first off, JC Staff operates by consistently churning out large numbers of works, so they can't dedicate much time to any single project. And since skilled animators are spread out across various projects, even when trying to handle things in-house, they're short on manpower. In the end, they have to outsource work overseas, and with no time left to check the deliveries, things end up like they are now. Okay, so JC Staff's official website unveiled how bad their working conditions are. So here we go. We have, why did JC Staff reveal one of their studios doesn't have security, or their newest studio worked on 3 projects straight on their website? Our quote retweeting describing the directing for One Punch Man season 3 as amateurish, and they aren't wrong. So yeah, this right here this in particular is a very important piece to this conversation, because effectively what it looks like we are getting out of all of this is that in a lot of cases, they are just rotating people through each studio to try and get work done, or outsourcing things. And now with Chibi's most recent video, he did show that they had forgotten to take some of the stills out that they were using for animation. It's really disappointing to see all of this, and just JC Staff being probably one of the worst studios insofar as working condition goes out there. And that's saying something, because Madhouse, Mappa, and a couple of others are still fucking sweatshops. I guess really to wrap up that part of the conversation is why would you allow animators to dedicate so much time to something like Tamon B-Side, which is not going to be as ubiquitous as One Punch Man, and just sort of fuck around with everything else? JC Staff could have done better, even with Realist. They are a piece of shit. Yeah, it's fucking rough. But to top it all off, we have a little bit more animation discourse, and this is a take that I do want to talk about a little bit.
But the thing that is successful here is not that it's hype and not that it's good fights and not that it's good animation. All of those are kind of a given nowadays. I feel like anime has gotten to a point where hype and good animation are a little bit ubiquitous across the field. Like every time I click on an anime, I feel like I'm getting good animation nowadays. The studios are just, they're so talented, right?
That's an interesting take from someone who probably only watches shonens.
The talent level is so damn high. What translates, and I think that what breaks away from the barrier of just being good animation is when you can craft a story that is specific to an experience.
What? When you can craft a story that is specific to an experience. I'm sorry. I know you probably mean something with that, but I hate to break it to you, that sounds like gibberish. If what you're saying is when you're able to craft a story that is specific to, I don't know, a certain element of life or a certain challenge that people run up against, I would agree with you. But with that statement, you've been pretty fucking vague. Hopefully he'll explain more here, though.
And that is what makes it relatable to the human experience, right? If you just have really hype fights over and over and over again, and there's nothing to tie your audience into the story, that hype, that like fun, it can lose its value, right? Rather than being enhanced by the value of the narrative that supports the action. And I think that this is true across all mediums, right? I think that it's part of the reason why the MCU is struggling. I think that you have this element of you need the background story to be as strong as the action scenes, or else the action scenes don't mean anything.
And now he's not wrong with that. Like, story is, important to anything. But his whole point is effectively that you can't be carried by animation. The issue is, well, the ones you're specifically talking about, especially here in, the fucking comments, the comment, right? I'll get into those.
And this has both of those in spades. It's so brilliant. It's so well written. It's so well animated. The designs of everything are so cool. Cerberus having 3 different sorts of mains, 2 of them being fire, was rad. The fights, the screens, all of it. It's just so good all the way down. And it is also relatable to an experience that I am very intimately familiar with because of my love of video games.
So to break it down, it reminds you of a video game, so the story is good? I'm sorry, but that comes across as some of the most vapid stuff that I have ever heard in talking about anime. Anyway, look, there's nothing wrong with a good hero story. And he's talking about, I believe, Solo Leveling. So if your whole point is that not everything can be carried by animation, well, animation can make or break a mediocre story. And to be entirely honest, Solo Leveling's story is kind of mediocre. It is unremarkable. The things that people remember about Solo Leveling are the fights. It is the animation, which are good. They're fun. They're entertaining. But I would not say that Solo Leveling has a good story. It's very basic, it's very bare bones, and it doesn't really delve into anything. It does only what is needed to keep the plot kind of coherent. It does only what is needed to keep everything moving forward. Solo Leveling is cool. I enjoy it. I will not deny that. I do think it is a very enjoyable series. But to say that it's really well done because it reminds you of a video game, that's a fucking L take. And again, with JJK, what's the point? What's going on in JJK? You could have had a really cool story in all of this, just like hero triumphs and all that kind of stuff. That's perfectly fine. Same with Demon Slayer. I enjoyed Demon Slayer's story. The issue is they still are not like, I guess, like the things that people talk about when it comes to these stories or comes to these series are never the stories. With JJK, what is it that people talk about? Sukuna versus Mahoraga, Yuji versus Yuji versus Mahito, all the fights, the ending being fumbled, Sukuna versus Gojo, Jujutsu Technical High School versus Sukuna. It's always the fights that people talk about. It's always the action stuff. Demon Slayer is the same. A lot of people tend to talk about just, the story. Although Demon Slayer does get a little bit more recognition insofar as its actual character work goes, because Zenitsu has a good story. Tanjiro is a good character. There's some, good humor in there, and the point being is that a lot of popular shows are only popular because a lot of people don't actually care about the storytelling. It's not that they don't have storytelling. It's just that their storytelling isn't necessarily as strong, and not everything needs to be a life lesson, okay? It doesn't necessarily need to do that. But to some people, like, at some point, cutting away from the human experience just to constantly focus on, the hero does the thing. Sometimes people really enjoy things that deal with problems or deal with things that they went through in life. Gives them perspective, helps them work through things. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to a visual medium, the only way you can say that most studios have good animation is if you only watch action shonens. If you only watch big time major titles in the anime industry. You clearly don't branch out much. You clearly only focus on what's popular. And even then, you missed One Punch Man. Sorry, this take in specific kind of that whole take kind of irritated me. It was frustrating to listen to when I came across it the first time, and I didn't necessarily want to I think OPM has better character moments than Solo Leveling. I will say, like, everything that happens with Garo is good storytelling. Everything that happens with Moomin Rider. Okay, look, I'll be entirely honest here. Moomin Rider's whole fucking thing against Deep Sea King bodies the entire story of Solo Leveling. It's not intricate. It's not over the top, but it's good. It is literally just Moomin Rider and the indomitable human spirit. That's all it is. And it's so much better than anything Solo Leveling did. Like, hands down. Single best moment in One Punch Man, in my opinion. That being said, though, we got another controversy to get into. So, Amazon and their AI dubs. Now, I'm not going to play all of these clips, but there's some horrendous voice acting in some of these. Like, holy shit. So, Amazon's AI dub of No Game, No Life is horrific. The random Japanese voices popping in and out is hilarious. Sentai Filmworks, please give them your official English dub. And you're going to have to hear this.
I think somebody somehow has played a terrible joke on you.
I hope you guys can hear because holy shit, that was rough. And now, I'm not. I'll talk a little bit about that later, but it's not quite as bad as the Supercube dub for some reason. Like this is more palatable than the Supercube dub, but it's still awful.
Overboost.
There was no emotion, no emphasis on that whatsoever.
Littering, debris everywhere.
It can't even get the fucking statements right.
I guess you don't care at all about the environment. However, no doubt I can do something about that.
You think so?
Yeah.
The Spanish AI is shit too. Someone show it to the Mexican side of the internet. Well, here's the thing: is these dubs are no longer available. And there we go. That the Japanese pops in here. That is from.
Yeah.
That is the Japanese voice coming in because the AI did not register it as speech.
It's not a role play.
Whatever you say, but Big Sis understands. When you're done, Shuvi can have a turn to take a bath.
Bath?
Okay. Unable to acquire evidence.
It's so bad. But wait, there's more. Let's go to Banana Fish, guys.
I need to know, Banana Fishes, quick, what you've been babbling about. So, I ask you to please tell me.
It's so bad. Like, this one is worse than the No Game, No Life one.
I know because that man said it while dying.
He said it well done. The AI can't even write English well.
But banana fish, it was banana.
Banana foot.
Head to him anytime.
That's right. Arthur, you're the boss. No complaints here.
Yeah, that'd be real helpful. If you're serious, though.
Say, did that bastard catch on?
It's so bad. It's so bad that like even like people like the voice actor of Ichigo, Johnny Young Bosch, responded to this. Like, what hope does any aspiring voice actor have now? Amazon has deep resources and should do better. They're also AI dubbing over titles that already have existing dubs. And like the intro to this one is fucking hilarious.
Damn it! Everyone's crowding into this tiny space. I need space to move.
I need space to move.
I said I need space.
Here, I think this is the fucking one.
Skipper, no, please, no, Skipper. Hey, stay with me. Come on, Skipper. Hey,
You gotta fight. Don't die on me, Skip. Don't leave me, please. Marvin.
It's so emotionless. It's so soulless. It's so awful. It's fucking hilarious.
You sick, ugly bastard.
You sick, ugly bastard. It's so fucking dumb. It's so bad. But oops. Share screen. Share that. here's the thing. Amazon streamed AI English dubs on Banana Fish, No Game No Life, and Pet Anime. So they've actually been removed now because Kadokawa got involved, or Shueisha. I forget which one it is. So Amazon Prime's video streaming of the Banana Fish anime and No Game No Life anime previously listed AI beta dubs for its English and Latin American Spanish dubs. The company's stream of the Pet anime and Journal of the Mysterious Creatures anime are also listing the English and Latin American Spanish dubs as AI beta dubs. The Vinland Saga anime stream listed as Latin American Spanish dub as AI beta dub. Amazon Prime Video has since removed the English and Latin dubs for Banana Fish, No Game, No Life, 0 as of Wednesday. Journal of the Mysterious Creatures and Pets AI beta English dubs remain in service. Latin American Spanish dub for Vinland Saga is also still up as of Wednesday. Amazon announced its AI dubbing pilot program for English and Latin American dubs March 5th. Users on social media started noticing the AI English dubs and posting about them on Friday. Soon afterward, many voice actors started speaking out against Banana Fish AI dub, including the following: Damon Mills, Kara Edwards, Nick Huber, Dawn M. Bennett, Marty Billany, Dave Wallace, and Abigail Blythe. ANN reached out to Aniplex regarding the Banana Fish English and Latin Spanish dubs on Friday, and to Kadokawa and Sentai Filmworks High Dive about the No Game No Life 0 English dub on Saturday. Kadokawa stated it has not approved an AI dub in any form. Sources at High Dive stated that it was not aware in advance of the AI dub and is looking into it with Amazon. Aniplex did not issue a statement as of the present. The 24-episode Banana Fish anime adapted Akimi Yoshida's manga and premiered in July 2018. The anime adapted the entire manga, but took place modern day New York instead of the 1980s when the original manga took place. Sentai Filmworks screened the film both an English dub and English subtitles in select U.S. theaters in September and October 2017 before releasing the film on home video in August 2018. High Dive started streaming the film on May 23rd with the English dub. Can confirm end credits on Amazon Prime's Video still lists Sentai Filmworks English dub cast and staff, despite the AI beta dub being completely different than the Sentai Filmworks dub. So yeah, there's some fuckery going on. I don't know what Amazon was thinking with all of this. And the fact that they still have some of the dubs up is frankly quite hilarious. But I would expect nothing less from fucking Jeff Bezos. Anyway. That's all a thing that's going on in the background. It's not like anything I can do can change it. So it's egregious. AI dubs are bad, and they have single-handedly made me reverse my position about the idea of replacing localizers and English dubs in favor of AI. But that's a topic for a different conversation. Anyway. Last big controversy of the night. Before we get to the ultimate waifu tier list, and we talk about the Evangelion girls and the Cowboy Bebop girls. And that would be this right here. So, the CSM fan base was in a bit of an uproar on social media. I decided to check it out. And well, apparently the character design of Reze is based on a BDSM porn film from 2013. Looking at the side-by-side comparison, you can't unsee it. So this is what we're looking at. It's very similar. It is most definitely very similar. But again, there is no proof that Fujimoto actually saw this and was inspired by it. Is it plausible? Yes, because he's a weirdo. I mean, there are videos out there of him trying to levitate. Like an adult man trying to levitate. But this did set off a lot of people. So seeing a lot of people hating on Fujimoto for making a porn star look like a character, but all he did was see a woman who wanted to leave her horrible work style and find love, and he implemented that into Rize. There's this whole thing of, he designed the character based on a woman he found attractive. Retards. If Fujimoto used an adult actress as inspiration for Rize, that doesn't make him less woke. It makes him more woke. Like turning it into a weird thing. But I guess the funniest of the interactions in all of this is going to start here. So, how did Chainsaw Man... We start with Chibi reviews. I have inside info that the porn was boring and cheeks. Okay. I'll trust your opinion on that. I will take the insider source at his word. How did Chainsaw Man get such a Puritan fan base in the last few years? This is an actual thing where people have complained even about Denji getting a hand job in the manga. They are legit freaking out and canceling Fujimoto Sensei for potentially watching a BDSM porno. It's literally a normal adult thing to do. Now, not necessarily, I don't agree with that, but it really isn't like the big like conundrum that everyone wants to make it do. It just makes him a little fucking kinky, okay? Which I would expect out of someone like Fujimoto. He likes being dominated. I'm pretty sure he has said that he is a masochist. Many of them are treating it worse than if someone murdered dozens of people. So this is where we start. And I specifically wanted to single out a particular retard. And we're going to work our way back. So here we go. So we have Okairo. Because BDSM porn is not normal to watch. Fucking retard. So no, I do agree that like BDSM porn isn't normal. I don't think that it represents a majority of people, because that's what normal means. Something just something accepted by the majority of people. But I don't think it is a complete indictment of the character. It just of the person. He's just kinky. Okay, so what? So this person's response, and that warrants people to freak out. It's just a fetish, and not that serious. Fucking retard. Oops. And of course, this guy responded with, and some people prefer not to have someone's fetish in the thing that they enjoy. The funniest part about this is Fujimoto's fetish actually doesn't show up in this at all. Look, like the whole thing with Reze and all that has no BDSM in it. Like, it would be one thing if he was actually putting the BDSM stuff in there, but all he did was copy a fucking character. It's not putting his fetish in there. And that's where this fucking jackass starts to go wrong, is he's so like uppity about the fact that like there's the potential that a character in Chainsaw Man, a manga he doesn't read or a series he doesn't watch, by the way, may have been inspired by a porn actress that Fujimoto saw potentially at one point in his life. It's a little bit ridiculous. So Chibi responded, so it's their manga, dumbass. Imagine telling a mangaka to stop writing how they want to write. Actually disrespectful, and kindly fuck off. Yeah, but I don't particularly think that like you see BDSM in the Reze arc. Like the whole bomb devil, I don't see any BDSM stuff in there. And this is kind of an appropriate response. Although I do think everyone is missing the point that a character being inspired by something from a BDSM film does not mean that his fetish is in there. It just means he copied a character, or he copied an outfit, a look from someone. It would be like if I copied the Catholic Church. It doesn't necessarily mean, into a story I wrote, doesn't necessarily mean that I am Catholic. All right. And now we start the Spurg session. So you want to start this type of argument? I see you only have the spine to argue when you think you actually have a pedestal to stand on. Now you want disrespectful? I can do that, but first, you clinical retard will point at the elephant in the room. Before you even attempt to call me a tourist, don't even try. I've been reading manga and watching anime before you discovered it existed. I've been in the anime community for over 26 years. I've worked in fan subs and the likes, and yet you still behave like a fucking tourist, being a Puritan over something that isn't even confirmed. If anyone is a tourist here, it's you and your little horde of freaks who know only how to insult and not have a discussion. Bro, you fucking can't even get a point right and you're going to talk like that? Yes, it's their manga, but unless they're keeping it in their own private space, anyone is allowed to say whatever they want about it. Sure, okay, but that doesn't protect you from clapback as well, or making stupid points. That's the pesky thing you love to screech about and protect yourself with: freedom of speech. Again, you're saying that they aren't allowed to call you out for your bullshit, and you're hiding behind freedom of speech because you're wrong on something. I can say whatever it is I want. You don't have to like it, but you do have to suffer it. Sure, you can say whatever you want, and we don't have to like it. But at the same time, we also have the right to criticize you when you're wrong. Yes, I can tell the mangaka to stop writing how they want to write. Doesn't mean they have to listen, but it's an opinion I can have. It's also called standards, something I know you are not familiar with because you promote incest, bestiality, and other kinds of degeneracy. I don't remember Chibi promoting bestiality. I know he's made jokes about incest, but cool, I guess. You have no standards until someone like myself comes along and decides your degeneracy is disgusting, and you should be shamed for it. Yeah, because you're coming in being the aggressor. Of course, people are going to defend themselves. You right here are admitting that you're the one initiating all of this. I hope you understand what the shame means, at least. You don't seem to show it. And yes, even promoting the fictional content of such still counts as promoting it. Just because you aren't promoting the stuff in reality doesn't save you from the punishment from pushing it in fiction. Yes, it's harmless as fiction, but you're advocating for it. This in and of itself is like contradictory. Like, it's internally contradictory. Promoting, so the point is he's making here is, yes, promoting the fictional content still counts as promoting it. Okay. It's harmless as it is fiction, but you're advocating for it. So he's acknowledging that it's harmless, but you're advocating it because you're advocating for it in fiction, which is harmless, but you're advocating it, but you're advocating for it in fiction, which is harmless. Just because you aren't promoting stuff in reality doesn't mean it doesn't save you from pushing it in fiction. Again, you have so lost the plot. There is nothing about this where Fujimoto is saying that like everyone should be doing BDSM. There is no promotion of BDSM in it at all. He literally just has a porn actress's clothes on one of his characters. Potentially. Here's a bigger question for you. What have you done in your life? Any big accomplishments? Or does sitting on X and spewing degeneracy yeah. You don't even say anything positive in your posts, as your posts are mainly degenerate posting. And some mild political posting shit all about because you don't do any research. You're a fucking normie cosplaying as an anime lover who came in on mainstream trend of liking anime. You found some niche, disgusting little corner, and then began to fester like a rash. I believe Chibi's been doing this for quite a while. But that being said, it would really fucking suck if someone was out there, posting their own degeneracy. It would really fucking suck if someone was out there posting their own degeneracy. That would be a real shame. Be a real fucking shame. Someone was gooning on their profile, This wasn't even hard to find. Like the day I found all this, I literally went and like scrolled down 3 posts. This dude is here liking, stuff like this. But it gets even better. So if you go to his profile, he talks about, American absolute monarchist. What the fuck? Confucian. Founder and owner of Arcarian Knights LLC. So you want to know what this guy does? I looked into it. He owns a small bodyguard firm in Tennessee. Or was it Nashville? Anyway, this guy's a fucking spurg, and it gets a little bit better as time goes on. Like I can bring up his whole profile and we can kind of go through some of the shit he's posted. He's an authoritarian, saying stuff like freedom is antithetical to the human condition. Yes, I'm locking replies because it's mostly people who are interested in following mob mentality. Freedom of speech is not ignoring your take. You fundamentally misunderstand what freedom of speech is. Like this guy's just straight up retarded. He's brain damaged. Again, my attempt at reasoning with porn addicts, degenerates, and idiots is also a problem. I always expect them to have the ability to think. Again, freedom of speech is literally just the ability to say something. Someone telling you to shut, you literally said this earlier. Like you are straight up contradicting things that you said in your previous post that we showed, where you said, I can tell someone to shut up. It doesn't mean they have to listen. Okay. Well, people can tell you to shut up. That doesn't mean you have to listen. That doesn't mean they're against freedom of speech. They're just telling you you're wrong. You know what? Out of every screechy chibi reviews horde, there's one who's just not civil, but can hold a conversation politely. My only issue is that, like some others, he assumes I do it for attention. Just to be clear, clear that tiny detail up. I regularly shit on Chibi when he has what I considered a fucked up opinion or viewpoint. This isn't the first, and it won't be the last, I imagine. Anyway, just for being the sole person with a working brain. Holy fucking God complex. And here he starts responding to the whole thing. To the post earlier. So so now, like my own post, this isn't a discussion or open debate. My previous posts and this one are more statements or declarations. And since I keep getting put in the magic censorship box, sure, I can double down on this. Yes, if I was in charge, I'd censor a lot of shit you degenerate little freaks watch and cheer for. Beautiful, attractive characters get to stay. Porn games, hentai, censored. Fan service, just because censored. Skimpy outfits tailored purely for fan service and hold no other purpose, censored. Fan service that actually serves a purpose gets to stay. Incessant bestiality and fiction, censored. And lastly, before anyone attempts to use the religious bucket on me, and I know they will, they've been skimming through my posts after all. Keep booing me, you little shits. It doesn't work on me. I've seen what you fuckers cheer for. Yeah, and you're a fucking retard who hates freedom. So, yeah, there's the post again. You should have literally no standards and entire bullshit argument with COSA, which I imagine you still didn't read the bill. No, you and your little horde read articles that in no way, shape, or form spoke of what was actually on the COSA bill. A case for post-abortion birth. Yeah, so like I said, this guy runs a fucking security firm. He's a for-hire bodyguard. That's what he does. He rents out unarmed bodyguards to people. That's his whole thing. And he acts like a big, tough guy on the internet and all that. Like, I'm so tough and all that. But people literally criticized him, pointed out that he was wrong, and went through his profile to see that he is, an authoritarian who hates freedom, and also, retweets Gooner material himself. Who also can't really think of anything in any nuanced terms, despite claiming to be the only one with a functioning brain. Again, all of this is potential. We don't know for sure that Fujimoto looked at this BDSM stuff and said, hey, I'm going to copy that outfit. It could be a really big fucking coincidence. You're incorrect, Muffler. He is an American absolute monarchist. Anyway, he immediately jumps to this. This absolutely is, like, in like no uncertain terms, a problem, and not just like this could potentially be a thing. He completely ignores the fact that this could all be fabricated. This could all be whatever. He's a fucking retard who likes to pretend like he's a tough guy because he runs a security firm. That's all I've gotten out of it. So that said, let's do the final thing of the night. Let us talk about, the ultimate waifu tier list. And here's where we were. We're going to add, the Evangelion girls. Misato, Rei, Asuka, and then, of course, four of our the only four important female characters from Cowboy Bebop. So we have Coffee, we have Judy, Faye, and Julia. All right, so let's get the worst ones out of the way first. Let's start with Ray. Honestly, Ray is fucking D tier. Like, fuck off with that shit. Like, I don't understand the people who, you know, are into that kind of thing. Like, there really wasn't anything sort of appealing to her, like, as, you know, the waifu material. As a character, a lot more interesting, but as, you know, waifu and all that, nah. I guess Asuka can go over here by Megumin. And you mean you don't want a clone of your mom in high school? Yeah, it's a rip. Asuka can go up there because I actually like Asuka. Also not a clone of my mom, so there's that thing. You know, quintessential tsundere, she can go right up there next to Megumin. Ritsuko? I would put over here in A tier because, like, she's hot as fuck, but you know, not S tier waifu. And then of course there is, you know, Misato, who, you know, gets to go up here in S tier. But Crimson, you said you liked Ritsuko more. Yeah, I do like her more, but if we're talking about waifu material in all of this, one's a whore, the other's just a drunk. Okay? It's as simple as that. And I would much rather deal with, you know, the drunk, who is at least loyal and a caring person, versus the girl with terrible choice in men. All right. So now we get to the Cowboy Bebop selection for the night. Coffee. So if you guys don't remember this character, she is from the episode Mushroom Samba, when they're all stranded on the planet, like tripping out on mushrooms that Ed picked. And I'll admit, I'm not a huge fan of the whole fro thing, but she got some nice titties, so she can go in A tier. I'll put her up there. You know, I respect it. Judy. Oops. Low S tier. Because, you know, fucking just, yeah. All right. Faye Valentine. High S tier. She's fucking good. All right. I would. And then Julia. I'll put her over here in A tier. Howdy, partners. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So with Julia, there's not really a whole lot to go on. Like, sure, I get, like, you know, like, she's supposed to be, like, super attractive and everything, but, like, you hardly see her in the anime. And when you do, she fucking dies. So she looks pretty, but she's a complicated woman, and I don't want to deal with that. So, I mean, if we're talking about, like, accuracy, like, across the board, I feel like Cowboy Bebop has, you know, some of the best accuracy. But yeah, like, I don't think I could put her anywhere higher than, like, an A tier. That's just kind of where I'm at. But that being said, though, we are going to screenshot this and call it an end, and call an end to the night. Because that's all I have to talk about. So, I'm going to probably work a bit on the bookworm video over the next couple of days, and maybe end the night with a drink. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. We had a bit of a long one tonight and talked about quite a bit. Hopefully, we will continue to have good topics to talk about in the future. Like I said, I'm going to try and get the bookworm video done for this week. And then, of course, there is animated, in which we are going to talk about the Vision of Escaflowne and, normal weekly anime, as well as a bunch of manga that I've been reading because I've been bored. Today was kind of a weird office day kind of ish. So, yeah, who knows? That being said, hope you all have a good night. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. Later.